Welcome to this C++ new series. Here I will be teaching you from the basics of C++ to the advanced stuff so you can build your own application. In this series I will be using the Visual Studio Compiler or MSVC for short, and I am using Windows. Of course, the syntax applies to for G++, CMake, and all of this stuff. It works the same essentially. There are some little differences in some macros and some stuff, but we won't be using them this early in this series. So in today's series, I would like to start with explaining what is C++ and explaining how the code works. So C++ is a language that's derived from C. So you can use their object-oriented programming, classes and private public members and these stuff. You maybe know them from a previous language you might have coded. C++ is a very low-level language that translates directly to assembly, and from the assembly it translates to binary. So you essentially got a hold of the whole control of the program and the memory, and you can control basically everything in it. It's extremely fast. That's also important to note, and that's why it's using in stuff like gaming industry, and it's using in stuff like coding the Windows kernels and the operating systems and low-level hardware, say some sensors or some stuff. So all of this is basically done in C++. What I wanna today start with is how to build a simple application. We start our program if we want to build a console application which uses the console because that's the basic thing. Then the Windows applications or cross-platform with Windows, we will get to that later. It's more complicated. For now, let's just stick to the console. So what we first need to do is to import some library that allows us to write to the console. As I've said, C++ is a very low-level language, and you would not like, of course, to write all of your code that does the things for in the console by yourself. So there is something called the standard template library, and this is a library written by the people who made the compiler. So you can include it in your project, and you can use basically the functions that translate then to the system specific command. So that's why it's cross-platform. When you use the same code, if you're not using some specific API, you can use the same code on Windows, Linux, Macs, or whatever. So let's get started. We start the program by including the input-output stream library. So we write include iostream. This library contains basically the code so we can input and output from the console. That's all it does. And this code is extremely long, as I've said, because it's low level. If we see iostream library, you can see it includes more libraries. They made it, the people who made the MSVC, and you can see that these libraries, if you go in them, they will be extremely long with a lot of code, very low level code, so you can just basically print your stuff to the console easily. That's why we include the library. So yeah, we continue on, and we have to declare the main function. It's the entry point of the application. When the compiler compiles our application has to know where to start the code. And the start point is always called the main function. It has the type int. I will get to that in a while. And it's called main. So main function is the first function that is executed in the program. Okay? And the syntax to write the functions is like this. These are the parameter arguments. We can get to them later too. You can write something here. You got also different types of main. For example, when you're coding on Windows API, you got something called winmain. When you're coding for a console, you can put here arguments like char arrays and stuff. But we will get to that later. Anyways, if you know what is an int, it's a short word for integer, and that means it's a number in a specific range. It's just a number that can't be a decimal, and it can be negative or positive. And this is what main returns. Basically, Normally we return 0 to the system, because when we return 0, when a function returns 0, that means everything was successful and everything was good. But when it returns 1, then that means something went wrong. So that's why we normally return 0, because nothing went wrong for now. So we will just return 0. That's basically the boilerplate that you will write your code in. Anyways, we need to print something to the console. Now, this is where the library iostream comes in. We will use a function called std_cout. The std here stands for the standard template library, and it's a namespace. We will get to that later in the series, what are namespaces. For now, know that it's to prevent name collision. So you have to write std : that you're taking from the standard template library a function called cout. Okay? And now you got two options. There is the normal syntax. If you have anywhere searched on Google or YouTube or anywhere some C++ tutorials, you will normally see that they use this, which if you have coded in any other languages might look like the bit shifting operator, which is, it's not. It's just an overload, because the syntax might be easier to write like this. And you might see something like hello world. Yes. And yeah, that's all to print. In C++23, now that it has come, there is a new function. I have my solution on C++20. I still don't use 23. We can use it. I can show you if you want. In C++23, they added a normal print function like we had, like we have in Python or something. And you basically, instead of iostream, you include another library called print. I will show you soon. I just want to show you that this is the normal legacy way how to print into console in C++ some text. So let's compile the code. I will hit build, or I will use straight up the debugger. It doesn't matter. Yes, and you saw it printed hello world and closed immediately, because the program has ended. It has done this instruction and it has printed hello world, and then it has gone down and returned 0. That means that the program was successful. But we don't want that. We need to stop the console so it doesn't close. We need to make it stop. We can use a function called std_cin. We will talk about cin in a while. It's for input, and dot get. This is a method basically that waits for a person to press the key enter. That's all it does. So it waits until you press enter, then it resumes to the rest of the code. So if we now press compile, we will see that it printed hello world and it's waiting for us to press enter. You see? Everything works as expected. It has printed. This is the normal syntax that normally we use in C++. Yes, that's all. Anyways, to get to the print function, you include, instead of iostream, include print. This is the new C++23 library. And you can use this function called std print line, like this. And you can write in it hello world. I think in the future this will be used more because it's the modern alternative, but for now the businesses haven't switched into it. Also, I forgot to tell you, in C++ every statement has to end with a semicolon. This semicolon tells that it's the end of the statement. We work here with statements. So this is one statement and the second statement, and always the semicolon indicates the end. And the compiler really doesn't care if you have the code on one line or on two lines. So I can take this return 0 and I can place it right here. I can write however I want. The most important thing is to have the instructions separated by semicolons. That's all to have. Anyways, this would essentially work the same. To get back to where I was, I will include back iostream because it's for now the more dominant library. Until print line comes more to use, then we can talk about it. Hello world. Yes. So now I want to show you some MISC that you can use in C++. For example, let's say we have comments, okay? Comments are basically a way in programming to write some text that will get ignored by the compiler. And every programming language has a different way of writing them. And C++ is one of them. So I can write a comment by doing 2 slashes. And then after it, you see how it turned green, because this text, I can write here anything, and it doesn't matter, because it's completely ignored. It's just for the people that read your code, or for you when you read your code in the future. So you know what were you here writing. I can write here myself. This is the main function, the entry point of the application, as you have seen. And this text will get completely ignored. So when I hit compile and run, of course it will close because I forgot to close the stdc in .get. Yeah, if I press compile and run, it will just print hello world like last time. It won't say anything because this is a comment. If I remove this, then this is a syntax error because none of these words are recognized by the C++ compiler except for this keyword. We will get to that later in the series, and this would not be a proper comment. Also, you got another variation of the comment, and you can write multi-line comments, which are written like this. You write 1 slash and then a star. You see, Visual Studio already closed my comment with a star and another slash. Now in this, I can use multi-line. I can write here anything I want in the multi-line comment, and all of these lines that are wrapped in this will get just ignored, as you see. Yes, and if I hit run, everything runs properly, as you see. I'm gonna zoom in. So yeah, that's basically it. This is how to print the stuff into the console. There is one more thing to the printing that might be useful to you for now, for starters, and that's how to print a new line. If you, for example, print after it, like this stdc out, how are you? Let's put this, and let's do compile. You will see that there won't be a new line. It will be on the same line. And you have 2 ways of solving this, which one I like more than the other. I will tell you my preferred way. I use the \n escape character, which stands for the new line character, because enter is basically, when you press enter, it pastes this character, which is invisible character. And C++ lets you explicitly write it like this in the string letter. Okay, so I write it like this. This means that new line, it's like if I pressed enter, and then this gets written on a new line. You can also do it in the middle of the text. So if I do it like this, the EU will get printed on a separate line by itself. You can see. Yes. So that's one way. And I've seen the other way, but I'm not much of a supporter to it. You can use something like this. You can do another operator and write a std end line. I think this is just more complicated way of doing it, and from what I have tested, it's slightly slower. It's not much of a difference, but it's slightly slower than the escape new line character. But this is also one of the official ways to do it. I think it has something to do with the safety or stuff. So yeah, both of them work the same basically, as you see. Yeah, and that's the end for today. And next time we are gonna talk about inputs, and we're gonna talk about the conditional if else statements. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.